What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men. You're listening to, the best episode of Sneaky Geek, episode 25 of Sneaky Geek. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bryce Rankins, and this is my co-host, Brian Romero.
Hey, that's me.
And we're joined by so many people today.
You're joining all the people.
Everybody tell me who you are. I don't remember.
Well, I'm Mitch Thompson.
I'm Molly Sanchez.
I'm Scooter from before.
Yeah.
Oh, return guest.
Return guest.
Return guest.
Yeah.
I'm Jenny from the block.
From kind of before. She was around, but she wasn't on.
Yeah, no, she was around, but she was like, I'm not talking about this later.
I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
It already took one of my rooms.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're here.
Yeah. Mitch and Molly have a podcast.
Mitch and Molly do have a podcast. Mitch and Molly's podcast actually helped our podcast a lot when we first started because I didn't know shit about what I was doing.
I'm glad to do it.
Yeah.
I'm real glad to help you.
Thanks.
Which is really good.
Really?
I mean, like, between the RSS nonsense and the SoundCloud nonsense, and then now I'm getting, like, contacted by some other app that's like, don't use SoundCloud. SoundCloud's for suckers. Use our app. And I'm like,
You're like, what?
You're going to charge me money.
That sounds like they're trying to scam you. That sounds like we know you're a sucker.
No way. No, they're totally legit.
Step one to getting suckers, call them a sucker.
No, they were, like, there was some app, and they were like, we're actually designed for podcasts. We have a whole system that will transport.
Pipa?
I don't know what it was called. It was ages ago. I went, I barely figured this one out. I'm happy with this interface.
Pipa
And that's why I
sounds fake
still
as fuck,
use
too.
That's
iPhone.
what my other podcast is on. But yeah, our podcast's called Failure to Launch, and we dissect TV shows that only lasted one season.
Yeah. Or less.
Or less, yeah.
Oh, yeah? There's been a few of those.
Yeah, there's been a few one episodes only. Like Heil Honey, I'm Home, a sitcom parody of Hitler where he lives next door to some Jewish neighbors, of course.
What could go wrong?
Well, that only last one episode.
That's at least...
Guys, it would do really well in America 2018. Let me tell you, there are a lot of proud boys that would really enjoy watching that show.
They'd go over real good in the deal.
Yeah.
I take offense at that.
I love you.
But what we do with it too when we watch these shows is we like to make drinking rules for watching these pilots that we cover. And we want to be just as drunk as you are if you stop halfway through and make the custom-made cocktail we do per
Which
show.
is always, like, an awesome here. You're just, okay, we went to the store and we're sponsored
What's
by...
the story?
So we made up that we were sponsored by Bush Market, which is a bodega near our house, and we just pretend that they're our official sponsor.
They
But we
provide
do-
closed captioning.
We do buy everything there. And one time we told the manager, we're like, hey, did you know you guys, we pretend you're sponsoring our podcast? And he's like, cool. What's a podcast? So shout out to Bush Market. You the real one.
Yeah.
He gives me free beer sometimes.
It's true.
Oh, so then it's totally...
Yeah, official sponsor.
Official sponsor.
But it's because I'm putting his kids through college. For the amount of beer I buy there.
Yeah.
It's also a testament to like the state I'm usually in when I buy liquor for our podcast in our life is I'm usually in like pajamas and a hoodie. And then one time I came in after an event, so I had like my makeup done, I had my hair, and he goes,
And he's like, who are you?
you look great.
It's like a she's all that.
Hello. With every girl wants that special moment with her local liquor store.
When someone says, oh, you don't look like shit.
Yeah.
This is a welcome change.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
See you next week in flip-flops and socks.
Yeah. My guy.
Oh, man.
Well, we don't have an official drink aside from whiskey and...
I mean, we're drinking
It's
Stranahan's
wonderful.
right now. So
It's delicious.
Straight out of
very
Denver. A couple miles from my sister's place we visit all the time. And
Nice.
Denver with that scary horse statue.
With the
airport.
hotel?
Yeah,
Or
it's
the hotel.
horrible.
The airport.
Yeah, you know that statue killed the maker.
Killed? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Tell us the
collapsed.
story.
It fell on him the day before he was done.
It was either the maker or one of
day
his
before
assistants or
retirement?
something like that. But also,
he was about to retire.
I'm gonna get out of the sculpture making game. I've lost too many friends.
This is the last statue I'll ever dedicate. I love this town.
And they still put it up at the airport as if it's not fucking haunted.
and the eyes light up red.
Okay, so it's a black horse statue with
I think it's dark blue. It's dark blue,
glowing
yeah.
red eyes. So at night, which is
So
the
it's-
only time I've seen it, it looks like it's going to eat my soul.
demonic.
It's the Ichabod Crane horse from,
really-
yeah.
from the Headless Horseman.
But also a known murderer statue.
That's true.
They're like, don't enter these parts.
Got a
We'll
thirst
fuck you
for
up.
blood.
Going for the head.
Yeah.
So in related news to the Denver airport, there's all sorts of weird shit in there, like paintings
Yes.
and sculptures and
So,
like.
yeah, we went one time to be reunited with Mitch's dad's side of the family. A scary thing on its own. Okay. And we went at we got into the Denver airport at midnight, and everything was totally empty. And to get to the arrivals, we had to go through this straight up hallway, dimly lit hallway,
Yep.
with all of these Native American warrior
yeah.
statues flanking either side, and then the music was not Journey songs. It was hiya, 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 hiya. And so we're just walking through this scary haunted Native American hallway.
No, but
You
there's
said you moved the bodies, you didn't move them, you just built it on top of it.
yeah, there's all sorts of weird shit on there.
scary.
Google it if you're not driving. If you're driving, wait. So anyway, Stranahan's whiskey. Drink some.
Some of my students listen to this podcast. They're minors.
Hey, don't drink.
Yeah,
Minors
I don't
drinking.
suggest
Yeah.
unless you work
Yeah,
in a
no,
mine
it's-
and had a rough day. Those are the only miners.
Yeah,
that
a minor is allowed to drink,
Yeah,
but not on the
they
job.
deserve
Yeah,
it.
I think a minor is totally
Yeah,
allowed.
for sure, for
That's
sure,
a
for sure.
fucking shady job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree on that.
we can
Minor
all.
minors. Minor minors, if you're out there,
Way
You're
to go.
allowed
This
to
one's for you.
this one's for you.
Cheers.
Stay away from that lung cancer.
Yeah.
The black lung pop.
All right, quick yes, back.
So, when we were at Comic-Con, Brian and I met Ming Chen, which is a whole thing, which we've discussed 3 times now in the podcast, because it was the best part about Comic-Con.
Oh, rad.
Maybe the
Super cool
second best
guy.
for me.
Are you guys familiar with Ming Chen?
No, go on.
So Ming Chen was a part of Comic Book Men, which was Kevin Smith's TV show.
Yeah.
There was 4 or 5 of them on there.
Yeah, you got
Hilarious.
Steve Dave, whatever his real name is, Brian something, right?
You tell him, Steve Dave.
Tell him Steve Dave.
Go watch Kevin Smith movies. They're fantastic.
Seriously.
I love them. Yeah, so we were at a party.
We were
As
at
you
an
do.
industry party.
Industry party,
where
as you
I
do.
was playing Pole Position 2 while
Yeah, he
being
was.
watched by a guy who works for the interactive section of Pornhub up in Montreal, Canada.
If we can combine Pole Position, which is already a great title for the porn VR,
Yeah,
together
Pole
with that
Position
technology.
2.
Turns out the key to that one is shifting.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
That game
That
took
being
so
said,
many
I
of my
fucking
nickels.
killed those records on that.
Yeah, you did.
Because there's arcade. We're on a rooftop. Okay, let me just set the scene.
positioned so
There's
hard.
fountains and there's arcades. Arcade boxes all around this
Every
rooftop
10,
party.
15 feet.
And the woman who makes shitty robots on YouTube, she was there.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I
Oh,
do
she was
too.
great.
And it was right after her
So
surgery,
funny.
so she had
And she's great now. She's in good health now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, she was super cool.
She was super cool.
That's another cheers to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right. We'll pick this up. Yeah. So we were at the party, and I turned the corner, and I saw a couple friends that I hadn't seen in a little while, and then Ming Chen was sitting right there. I'm like, oh, hey man, how's it going? And we got to talking. I'm like, oh yeah, we have a podcast. We're doing stuff. He's like, can I be on your podcast? We're like,
Fuck yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, I got accidentally bumped up to VIP section, so I was in there. There were no games in the VIP section. The only thing
Sounds
they had was
not that important to me.
Slightly better, well drinks was basically what they had.
I'm
so I'm like,
listening.
yeah, okay, I'll have. And that was the day I discovered I was a gin man, and so I was drinking all the gins I could find.
Molly's a
And
gin lady.
Yeah.
Well, you guys BFFs.
There was a guy named Tom, and he made me dope Tom Collins at the Wired party earlier that day,
Yeah.
which we went to, by the way, because open bar and free hors d'oeuvres, and we are poor.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we were able to go and get free food.
For sure.
And tanked.
Anyways, so
I'm in the shitty room, missing this entire thing, being like, I'm gonna stay in this VIP room because I finally got it somewhere.
Yeah. And I'm out there schmoozing and like hanging out with Ming Chen, and he's super cool. And he generally wants to know about our podcast, how we got started, and if he could be on. He's like, "Can I be on your podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, really? I mean, yeah, man, totally. Yeah, we'll meet you out tomorrow at your booth." And so we did.
Yep, we did. We had an interview
That's
with
really
him.
cool.
Yeah,
Good
which you
for
should
you
hear
guys.
pretty soon or on this one.
It sounds like this. Go.
Like,
Hi, everybody. This is Bryce Rankins and Brian Romero.
hello.
And we're here today with Ming Chen.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to San Diego Comic-Con 2018.
All right, so Ming Chen. What do we call you? Ming?
Yeah.
Ming? Okay, cool.
Yeah, call me Ming. You might know me from AMC's Comic Book Men.
Yes.
Well, formerly. We got canceled, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The C word.
Yeah, I'm also a fellow podcaster. I do several podcasts. I Talk Comics with Mike Zapsik, The Ming and Mike Show, also with Mike Zapsik.
Yes.
I recently opened up a podcast studio called A Shared Universe Podcast Studio. Yeah, you know, I got a lot of stuff going on. Would rather be on TV, but hey, yeah, I'm not
Wouldn't
gonna
we all?
cry.
Wouldn't
I'm not gonna cry about it.
Yeah.
Except I just did. So
I mean, yeah.
At least twice today.
yeah, but hey, man, if you had a TV show and then like you didn't, you would cry about it
No,
too.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so screw you guys for laughing at me.
All right, so, well, I mean, you're here at Comic-Con. And that's
Yeah.
pretty fantastic. How many Comic-Cons have you done now?
I mean, total since I
what's the-
started.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Give us the numbers.
So I was averaging probably about 28 a year since 2014.
Okay.
So that's about 4 years. Like, I mean, geez, man. I would say I gotta be close to 130 at this point.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. So obviously you enjoy coming here. And
Dude, I love it, man. Where else can you go where you can find this variety of goods, first of all?
Yeah. Oh,
meaning Star
sorts
Wars.
of good stuff.
Yeah, meaning, you know, bladed weapons, Star Wars toys,
Yeah.
Star Wars backpacks and apparel.
Star Wars anything, really.
Yeah, Star Wars anything, Funko Pop figures.
Yeah.
You know, the copper stones from the Goonies as a bottle opener.
Yeah.
Like just anything they can
All
think
sorts
of.
of cool shit.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
So that's first of all. Two, I love being surrounded by geeks.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I had two friends who knew what adamantium was and who Wolverine were.
Yeah.
Out of a high school class of 400 people, we got beat up. We didn't get spit on, but that we might as well have gotten
Might as
spit
well,
on.
yeah.
Nobody cared about us. And look at us now.
And now look at us.
Yeah, we have literally 100,000 people here
Yeah.
who know what adamantium
Right.
and Wolverine
And
know
want to
Wolverine
geek
is.
about it with us.
Yeah, I truly love that. So three, I love San Diego in particular. All my friends are here.
Yeah.
I just know they're gonna be here. I'll run into them either drunk or sober at a party, or on the con floor.
Or if you run into them sober, you'll end up drunk with them. Or if you end up drunk with them, you'll end up sobering up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I end up making new friends as well.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. It's
I mean,
great.
we met you drunk, so, I mean, we were drunk. I don't know if you were drunk.
I was probably drunk.
That's fair. That's fair.
There's some good times. ahead of
Sorry,
us, man.
Mom.
Yeah.
I'm a happy drunk. I get very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, which is how we met you, and we got really excited yesterday talking to you about podcasting.
Hey, oh,
So can
yeah.
you talk to
Yeah,
us a little bit
yeah.
more about your studio?
Oh yeah, so going to all these cons, I've been podcasting for about 8 years now,
Mm-hmm.
which in this genre is a long time.
long time.
It's been a long time. And so we've had many episodes. ISO Comics is almost at 300, and we became pretty well known as podcasters.
Yeah.
And if you watch Comic Book Men,
Oh yeah.
one of the first shows to feature podcasting as kind of a plot device.
Yeah. Oh, totally. That was one of my favorite aspects of the show. You guys broke down the episode like in a podcast studio, just like talk about everything. That's kind of helped us kind of guide our style of podcasting a bit there.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think we just really made it look cool. The cool mics, the cool set,
Yeah.
everything. We podcast on a poker table. We made it look like, hey, maybe I could do this. And like, yeah, you can.
Bunch of friends just getting around talking about nerd stuff.
Yeah. So at cons or people come in the store like, hey, man, I listen to your podcast. It's great. I want to start one with my friends. But what kind of gear do I need? How do I get it up on iTunes? Do I need to upload? How do I edit?
Yeah.
How do I make sure it sounds right? And we would give them like a 10-minute quick tutorial.
Basic, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which was great, but it's not enough. Me and Mike were like, man, wouldn't it be cool we could sit down with them for like 2 hours?
Yeah.
And we'll teach them like the technical stuff in an hour, and then the other hour we just podcast.
Right.
And by the time they leave that room,
They're
their pod's on iTunes already.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so the beginning of this year, we just finally got off our asses. Mike was a big motivator.
Yeah.
I had all the technical aspects. I knew we could do it, but to actually rent a space and build it out and get the gear.
Build everything up.
Sorry, stop.
Get
Okay.
the space
Yeah.
and build it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
build it up. Yeah, he really motivated. He was like, let's just do it. So we signed a lease, opened up, the studio. We don't know what, we still don't know what we're doing, but we know a
But
little
you're
bit
doing it.
more.
Yeah.
And
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
yeah. So the first 2 months, it's just our friends coming in,
Yeah.
which was fine because we give them a little friend discount.
Yeah.
But then slowly we started getting emails after we set up the website.
Yeah.
Hey, I run a vegan food festival in New Jersey. I want to start a podcast about that to promote it.
Yeah.
And we were like, great. And there was people we didn't know.
Yeah.
And the first time they came in, it's like, oh, we never done this before. It's like, listen, I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And they've been off and running ever since. I think they have like 30 episodes
Well,
now.
that's awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And it grew from there. They told their friends told their friends.
Yeah, and then they were just kind
Yeah,
of came in.
so I mean, we have everything from the vegan food festival to real estate lawyers to guys running a short film festival
Oh,
to
very cool. Yeah.
4 guys who go out and bang chicks on Friday and Saturday night and come back and talk about it on Sunday, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
All and everything in between.
Yeah.
And I love it. So.
Very cool.
And now we really built this relationship where the podcast is a part of their lives now, and they can't wait to come back week after week.
Yeah.
And they're trying to improve it and they're trying to get
Yes,
it huge.
that's what
so
we're trying to do, yeah.
So it's great. It's great to have this dedicated space, and we came with this philosophy initially. We didn't want the whole thing to be covered in sound tiles and like make it all drab and gray.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm gonna put my Karate Kid poster up there, signed by
yeah.
Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
I'll put my Walking Dead poster up there. We're gonna hang a Lucille bat from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That we're gonna put a whole row of lightsabers. That if you
hell
wanna
yeah.
if you wanna pick up and turn on and take a photo with it, hell yeah, just tag the studio.
Yeah, nice.
If you wanna pick up the metal cap shield I have up there, go for it. It's a whole comic book library. You wanna come in early and read comics? Go, read
Yeah,
comics,
like,
man.
do it,
Yeah, for sure.
so awesome.
So that's what we've built. So the moment they step in, I was like, whoa, this place is really cool. I was initially nervous coming up here, but this kind of gets me at ease. Let's go. Let's podcast. So, yeah, it's awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So how did when you guys first started out? What kind of gave you the idea of doing a podcast?
It was all Kevin. Kevin,
Oh, because he's been doing it for years.
yeah, he started in 2007 recording
Yeah.
the first Smodcast.
Right.
And for him, it was perfect. He's a guy who loves to talk at length.
Yeah.
Doesn't like any rules.
Right.
When to start, when
I
to
love
stop.
him.
No one's saying, "Oh, you got to put an ad here." No one's saying you have to stop here.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect medium for him. So for him, I saw it was.
Oh, yeah. I
He
love
was
that stuff.
first episode. He was great at it,
Oh yeah.
and it was awesome.
Because he's basically just doing that on stage.
Yeah.
Before that, anyways.
Yeah. Soon after that, he wanted to start a network with different shows.
Yeah.
So one of the first ones was one that Brian and Walt from Comic Mind started called Tell 'em Steve Dave,
You're right.
which is doing very successful right now. But he's like, hey, I want you and Mike to do one about comic books. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't go to broadcasting school. I don't know how to do this. It's like, you just do it like I do. Just talk.
Just talk.
Just
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Talk about what you love.
Yeah.
Grab some issues. Tell people why you like them.
Yeah.
And that's a show.
Yeah, and people will listen.
I'm like, all right, like maybe people won't listen, but maybe people will. I don't know, but but if Kevin, it's weird. If Kevin tells you to do something, you do it, and you do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And even if it's something you've never done before, he could be like, I want you to cure cancer or go to the moon.
Yeah.
I might.
Okay,
I'll
I already
try.
said so, but
I'll,
okay,
I'll
yeah.
try to find a way. I'm not a doctor or an astronaut. I'll
But
try to
you'll do
find
the
a way.
best,
Yeah. And so we started a comic book based podcast, and 300 episodes later, we're still going.
still going.
Yeah. But I loved it so much. We started other shows.
Yeah.
We help launch other shows. Some of these other shows want us on there with them.
That's how it goes, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So
So when I first started, I joined a friend on their wrestling network. They had a wrestling podcast, and he just did a random Star Wars episode. I'm like, let's just do a Star Wars spin-off show. So they did that, and I joined them on there, and that's kind of how I got started doing this.
And I love talking. Like,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I've been quiet on this little interview here, but like I don't shut up. At some point, he was like, "Dude, why don't we just turn a microphone on?"
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of how the first episode got recorded. He was
Yeah.
like, "We should just be recording this."
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've discovered is, your friends or whoever coming might be a little shy, a little quiet. It's weird. You put a microphone in front of them,
Oh, and
they want to
just-
talk into it.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
greatest thing.
It really
It's the
is.
greatest thing. And we use some really nice Shure 55SH microphones. You see them on Comic Book Band. They're commonly known as the Elvis mic. Those are not only great sounding, but they're great looking too. And I think people want to talk into it. So yeah, it's a combination of things. But what I really love is people love doing it. People love it. I love it.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
And we love that you love it, and we love it too.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Anything else? Oh, I wanted to ask regarding cons, since you are a collector, what is your white whale? Like, what's that one thing that you're like, I keep an eye out, but I don't look too hard, but one day?
So on Comic Book Man, I'm a known G.I. Joe freak. Yeah. I was born in 74, grew up in the 80s. Like 80, I believe the greatest toys ever were invented between the years like 1982 and 87. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats. Yeah.
Oh!
So the holy grail of any G.I. Joe collector is the USS Flag, the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier.
Okay, yeah.
And when it came out, it was like a $100 toy. Only rich kids got it. I was not a rich kid, so I never got it. And on the show, 30 years later, I actually bought it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then later on, I decided it's a 7-foot aircraft carrier.
Hell yeah.
And I had nowhere to put this thing. Ended up selling it to this guy who was opening up a brewery in town with a promise that I would also get free beer along with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's a deal.
my white whale right now is I want that aircraft carrier back. But I want it in box and sealed.
Oh.
And they do it. They exist out there.
Yeah.
They're, probably hovering around the $5,000 mark, I would say, starting,
Yeah.
and go up from there, depending on condition.
So rich kids again.
Yeah.
Kids again. Yeah.
Rich kids again, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. I want to be a rich kid. How do we do this?
Seriously.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear you could start by getting a TV show.
Yeah, well, real TV show. Reality, not so much.
That's
So,
fair.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men. Those are rich. Again, there's a whole hierarchy, gentlemen.
Yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Charlie Sheen getting 2 million episode, that's a rich kid.
That's a rich kid.
Yeah, us getting like 20 an episode, not rich kid, but yeah, it's okay, it's all right. That's,
Yeah.
So you hustle.
$20 and a high five.
Yeah, and lunch, and lunch.
lunch.
Oh,
Lunch is very
always
important.
feed us. Always feed us.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Oh, that's it for me. Yeah.
Anything else?
No,
You're
I'm
going.
good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good. I love you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
seriously.
Continue with the podcast.
Of course.
I'll subscribe. Looking forward to many, many episodes.
Dude,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully we can get you back on
Yes.
Anytime, gentlemen.
We'll be
anytime.
around
Alright.
cons. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll pop by again. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
That's so good.
That was so cool.
So cool.
I love
guy.
when he said that one thing, and I was worried it was going to be racist, but it wasn't.
You're right.
You're right.
He was going there. Those calls.
And then he Ming Chen'd it, and he. What a great guy.
I mean, when he went on that 3-hour diatribe about pole position 2, I was wondering, where's this gonna go?
Around in a circle.
Oh shit! So yeah, so that was Ming Chen, super great guy. And him and Brian Johnson, they set up again, like he said, they set up a studio for people to podcast in, and they're all about
nice.
they're all about bringing up the game.
Yeah, so if you want to start a podcast, they will like get you there.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Like they
It's a
basically do
business
all
to
the
have.
things that you did, but they provide an actual studio and they like show you how to work it instead of being like, you need to do this and this. They're like, here, let me walk you through this process.
Yeah.
The goal for them is to get through. I mean, he says this in the interview, but the goal is get through your first episode, have it edited and uploaded by the time you're done with your session.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Super cool.
Yeah,
Because he loves podcasts because that's how they got started, and that's like the origins of the Comic Book Men show.
Yeah,
Smodcast, right?
The
Is their
Smodcast, yeah,
thing?
with Kevin Smith and all his crew, and even with Comic Book Men, they break things down. This is podcast. I'm using air quotes. So they break things down, but they're sitting around a table like we are right now with a mic, and
That's really
and they're
cool.
going through it like a podcast status. Yeah,
Did you guys see the Smodcast movie, which is Tusk?
not yet. That's on my list of things that I'm trying to get through in December.
It's insane. It's one of the
It's
weirdest
not
movies.
good.
That's what I hear. I hear both things.
I think it has its moments. It's Kevin Smith trying a little too hard to be like Quentin Tarantino. There were really long scenes of like characters having crazy monologues,
Which he's known for anyways, but not that
but not
long.
this kind of monologue.
Okay.
Like these are very much like I don't know. I can't explain
I
it,
think
but
Kevin Smith is best in his element when he's like elevating the everyman, and when he starts
Yes.
to go into fantastical realm, it's just like a little wanky.
Okay.
And it,
I saw
like,
Yoga Hosers
It
too,
loses
the
the
same
juice
way.
a little
Oh yeah,
for me.
I mean that was kind of aimed to younger people, anyways.
I don't
but-
know who that movie was for.
Really? So yeah, like December is my month to like catch up on all things Kevin Smith I've missed from the last 7 years.
That's nice. I'm so glad he's around. I think he's a great writer.
I'm
Seriously.
so glad he
Don't-
survived his heart attack.
Yeah.
Like that, the day I heard, like, I was so scared because I grew up watching his shit. And,
Fucking cheers to Kevin
yeah,
Smith's
another
good
cheers to Kevin Smith. Oh yeah. So anyways, Ming Chen joined us, as you just heard.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what we want to talk about currently on the podcast now is podcasting
Yeah,
in
only
general.
15 minutes in, we finally got it.
Finally get to bring it back around as we do. Yeah, so like, you guys have a podcast.
Yeah.
When did you guys start your podcast?
That was about 2.5 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, and yeah, I've always been a huge fan of listening to podcasts.
Me too.
Some of my like favorites from early on are like Comedy Bang Bang and Doug Loves Movies. I love Doug Benson a lot.
Oh, anything Doug Benson does is it's so good.
He's fantastic.
He's so high.
He's so high all the time, and it's crazy to me that
functional high.
I don't know how.
I don't know either.
How.
Even on at midnight when he was on there a bunch with Chris Hardwick, pre all that nonsense.
He was one of the highest winning guests.
Yeah, and he was so good.
And I mean highest winning
he was
guests.
both. Yeah, yeah.
But you know, like watching or listening to these, I realized that like this is something that helps me get through my work day. This is something that gets me through my commute. Yeah. And I find myself yelling back a lot. Like I have so much to say.
I've
about
had
it.
so many conversations with you guys that you guys were not part of.
Oh, Bryce!
Yeah, same.
That's what we want to hear. I love it.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am with my podcast. My friend got me into I Hate This Album. Why I Hate This Album.
Yeah.
And the first album they did was Korn's Follow the Leader, which I'm a huge Korn fan because
That's their best album too, honestly.
Bakersfield.
Because Bakersfield, yeah. Which is funny because
That's why I hate them.
yeah. But I found myself like, you guys are full of shit. This song is great. You're true about this song. No, you're full of shit. Oh no, you're right. Okay, but no, like just going back and forth with kind of like, I think I heard from some sort of podcast. I listened to a bunch. It's like you're supposed to be the unofficial partner in that podcast. That's how you know it's a good podcast, is when you can interact with the listener without them being there.
Yeah,
and so, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what we think about your guys' podcast.
Thank you.
That's how I get into podcasts. If there's something that like I'm sitting there, I'm just listening and not actively getting not pissed off or even pissed off or just happy or riled up in some way. Yeah,
excited.
Then I'm like, this is not worth it. This is not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's the reason Doug Loves Movies, not to take it back all the time, but it has games. You know, they're playing movie trivia games.
That's so
and
cool.
I play one of the games all the time, so much that Molly is like upset that I tried to. There's a game he
I'm
plays
only
on there.
upset because I'll be like, hey, how are you doing emotionally? Do you want to kind of check in and talk about it? He's like, nah, let's play Tom Cruise in the Letter Mountain game.
It's a game called Last Man Standing, where you pick an actor or actress or director with a big body of work, and you go through in a circle of friends, and you try to name each movie individually until you can't name one, and then you're out.
Yeah.
And anytime we're walking to the bus, I'm just like, I don't like walking without movie trivia in my damn life. Yeah. We're doing Tom Hanks again. I'm gonna get it perfect this time. And that Cloud Atlas always gets me. I gotta start remembering.
Mazes and Monsters. That's what.
That is a TV movie.
count.
It does not count.
It doesn't count.
Why not?
TV movie. It didn't come out in theaters.
That's a thing.
Theatrical movie, apparently.
Damn.
Apparently.
Yeah, well,
All
I
I
didn't
know
know
is
these
that
rules.
I beat Mitch once. So
You know what?
He
I'm
did.
gonna
You
rent a
beat me on
theater
Brad
and we're gonna
Pitt,
play
didn't
it.
you?
No, it
Son
was
of a
Leonardo DiCaprio.
You
sir.
motherfucker! See,
That's
that's how
our match for the win.
that's how a podcast should be. Like getting people involved. And
Yeah. Well, I think podcasts are a perfect counterexample when people are like, oh, millennials are always on their phones. They're like not paying attention to the world, whatever. Podcasts are such a great way to get your niche's interests and find a billion people
Oh, totally.
who love it and love it the way you do. I mean, I have another podcast where we just talk about The Handmaid's Tale and Josie and the Pussycats and all kinds of
naturally.
weird young adult literature, and it just feels like such a blessing to have found this huge community of people who are like, I also love Face on the Milk Carton, and I'm pissed that she ends up with Reed at the end. That so sucks. And it's such oh, y'all never heard Face on the Milk Carton? It's a dope book. It's a young adult book about a girl who finds out that she's been kidnapped her whole life. It's very good. Anyway,
You do.
but it's a great example of very niche communities finding each other all across the world, and that's why I love podcasts.
What I love about your other podcast, which we should plug right now, it's called Read All Over, a Handmaid's Tale podcast.
and our podcast, I don't think we said our podcast is called Failure to Launch.
So we got.
Oh yeah.
What I love about it is your online community is very good. You have a nice, large fan base, and you guys use that to do a lot of good. Like, you talk to people about self-care. You raise money for charities. You got, what is it, Self-Care Sunday, I think is what you guys do. You can explain it better than me.
Well, that other podcast, we utilize like a big Facebook community, and it's full of all different kinds of people, even like a few weird conservative people who I don't know what podcasts they thought they were listening to, but
You know what? Whoever joins, and that's okay.
but they're all like really active on Facebook. So we do Self-Care Sunday, where you talk about how you're taking care of yourself this week. We've raised like a bunch of money for Planned Parenthood and RAIN and all kinds of stuff. So when podcasts have a community, like it's so fun and weird and great.
I
It's
think
the best
most
part.
charity we did was I talked like what's a DMX during a playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2, and if I could make it through the whole level, somebody was going to donate $10 to St. Jude's.
And
That's
Eric
nice.
did.
That's nice.
Who you can hear on our Coheed podcast. And Bryce did, and it was amazing.
God,
it was so good.
Stupid. That's the level of charity work that we
Oh
do.
no,
That's
we
fine,
did the
that's
Star Wars charity con at Applebee's.
Oh yeah, we did it to
I'm
the whole
listening.
podcast. And you know what? It never aired.
No,
all
because
that
I remember
audio was
seeing
on
pictures of the
Facebook.
event, and I kept waiting for that episode.
everything was on Facebook Live. We're like,
We still have to download that from Facebook Live because
Yeah.
we have some solid interviews.
That would be some high quality audio right there. Let me tell
Actually,
you.
it's not bad because this little Bob Barker microphone right here
yeah.
was right under Princess Leia's voice actress, and she came in pretty clear.
That's awesome.
Okay, so like spoilers for later, but she did the Princess Leia monologue from like, oh, help us, and you're just like,
She's standing there and she goes, well, okay, so the line I had to read was General Kenobi years ago, and by the time she got to
we're
go, we're both like,
yeah, so good.
Have I told you guys my 2 Carrie Fisher stories?
No,
So,
you're going
of
to now.
course, Mitchell has 2 Carrie.
I know. Like,
Not
I
one,
just
but
want to interject saying that like Mitch thinks that he is like this Charlie Brown character that nothing goes well for him, but he's like the exact
keeps
opposite
happening.
of it. Where like we'll go to places in Bakersfield and they'll be like, "Are you Mitchell Thompson? Oh my god!" And he has all these stories about like runs in with
He's kind of a
celebrities
weird
and
like local celebrity.
he's such a big deal and like.
I am so red for the listener. I am very red.
And
So this is a
you'll be
podcast.
Like, so it's like when like a famous person comes to you and they say like, "Wow, I really appreciate that you specifically like my work." It's like that. I'm like, no, that's
And you're
not
like,
a
who the
thing.
fuck are you?
So tell us your
Anyway, Carrie Fisher stories.
The Mitchell Thompson.
Because ours is not a Carrie Fisher story. It's a Carrie Fisher's voice sound-alike story.
Which is beautiful in its own
It really
right.
is.
Rest in peace. Cheers to Carrie
Cheers.
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Oh crap! I need more whiskey.
I do too.
I'll bring the bottle.
Please do.
So Molly and I live in San Francisco. I moved up there back in 2005, and I think it was around like 2007. I was in Borders, back when Borders was still a thing.
I love Borders.
Yeah.
Shout out to Borders. Cheers to Borders,
I
everybody.
used to work there.
Live in peace.
Molly used to work at a Borders, and the funny thing about it is
Remember
that
that time Chipotle?
yeah,
And then you walk
Bakersfield.
to Borders to walk it off.
Yeah, you go to Chipotle, then you feel really gross about your life, and then you go, you know what I need? Semblance of intelligence and some cardio. And then you walk around Borders.
The thing about that Borders is that Chipotle was that it was just south of the Borders.
So anyway, you're in Borders with Carrie Fisher.
I was in Borders, and I'm paying for whatever book I was buying, some Vonnegut probably at the time.
I'm sure.
Helen sent us tips.
I was buying my third copy of the Sirens of Titan.
I had loaned out my other 2 Sirens of Titan copies out, but and just I hear this loud voice go, "Everybody, I'm gonna go outside for a cigarette." I want to hear this girl do that impression of Carrie Fisher, because I turn around and it's just Carrie Fisher yelling up the escalator at her family about how she's gonna smoke.
Oh shit.
And it's just, I was like, oh, that's rad. And then on my way out, I'm walking by, and there, sure enough, she's just huddled trying to make sure no one can see. But I was looking for fucking someone smoking a cigarette. She was sending me a smoke signal, like, here's where I am Carrie Fisher. The second one was back when WonderCon was still in San Francisco. And I'm just
That's
looking.
where I met Peter Mayhew.
That's awesome.
His hands are way bigger than mine.
That
That's
like
like
an
nuts.
hard to believe.
Like he was signing everything with a mini Sharpie, and I was like, "Damn, his hands are huge." And then I walked up, and I was like, "That's a full-size fucking Sharpie." This gigantic. So I put my hand up against his, and like an inch on all sides.
shit.
I
And
know it's
his-
a podcast,
and-
but show Molly your backwards fingers.
Yes.
Oh,
so this is a
yeah.
podcast, Bryce.
Do you hear that reaction, guys?
It's like a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah, and then his thumbs are seriously as like round and as wide as freaking champagne corks.
Damn. Imagine the dick attached to those.
And then I signed.
Eventually, the arm is attached to the chest, is attached to the dick.
The arm bone's attached to the dick bone.
He's swinging that Chewbacca dick.
Yes, you guys.
Have you ever tried to reverse hand masturbate?
Yeah.
You know the last time I was asked that question?
By
My
me.
sophomore year of high school.
By Mitch.
Was it Mitch?
I think it was.
I have like
I'm like-
18
like
Bryce-specific jokes. I could do a solid 5 on Bryce Rankins.
Really? Could you Rankins?
Oh! So I'm at WonderCon, and I'm just like looking at comics and stuff, and I just get smashed by this person who's running super late for whatever Hall H shit they need to do equivalent at WonderCon. Sure enough, Gary Fisher ran into me, knocked me to the ground, looked at me and goes, "I'm late, kid, don't have time to help," and continues running. Some fucking princess.
She's a fucking general now, so she knocked your ass over.
Yeah, she don't got time for my shit.
Show some
a-
respect.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's a badass story, though.
Yeah, I've never been more proud to be knocked down by a woman before.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's
Till last night.
Oh.
Hey-o.
When Julie, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, we're coming.
I couldn't think of a joke fast enough. Sorry.
Damn.
Julia Roberts.
Edit
not
that out.
Julia Roberts came by with her giant mouth. Was like, "Sorry, kid, I'm late to the bathroom. I gotta see this fountain urinal." Mitch was at the Madonna Inn last night. One of the best bathrooms you can ever be in.
But not for the bear.
Yeah, you pee on the wall, right?
Yeah.
No, you pee
I
in
did
the water
it
fountain.
in the women's bathroom just to be safe.
Yeah.
Peed on the wall.
Yeah.
You never know.
If you go to the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, you can pee on the Berlin Wall. One of the bathrooms has a section of the Berlin Wall, and you know that 16-year-old me missed that on purpose. Boom. Sorry, urinal, but I got business to fight.
Business
Suck
to
it.
fight. I'm gonna start saying that every time I have to pee. Pardon me, but I got business to fight. Hope you don't mind. I'll be back at 5. Got some serious business.
We're
to
going to see
fight.
that on a t-shirt real soon. Real soon.
I got business to fight. Anyway,
Oh man.
so y'all have a podcast.
Okay, what is everyone? I want to ask the table. What is everyone's like favorite podcast?
Jacob, let's go to you.
Right now, it's probably your mom's house.
Yeah.
Yeah? What's up?
That sounds like an insult and not an actual.
Mummies.
My mom's house is
Right now,
lovely.
it's your mom.
Yeah, she just redid some stuff.
That's right.
I'm glad you
Sure,
like
she's
it.
going through boxes and it's working out well.
Well, actually, I'm gonna take it back. That's my favorite, but also Come Town. So
Yeah, Come Town. You've never heard of Come Town?
yeah, Come Town and your mom's house,
Yeah.
which is the same place.
I feel like you've got kind of I feel like you kind of have a niche podcast desire.
Yeah, just funny as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, your mom's house is Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, his wife, and they just are funny and awesome.
Bikes.
Yeah, bikes.
Bikes.
And
It's really good.
it's real good. I got heard on a
Yeah.
podcast. I'm pointing to Jenny, who's my wife, and we listen to it
I
all the
was
time.
not into podcasts.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
And then Come Town is just
Ian.
funny. They're just
Yeah.
do they talk
retarded
about?
and coming. I don't know. No.
I don't actually listen to it. I just thought the name was funny and thought I'd throw it
Yeah,
out.
they
talk
they're
about
just
that.
bullshit. They're just 3 guys
Yeah.
in New York, and they talk shit and hate on things, and it's just funny and obnoxious. And it's really really niche, and I like it.
Hells bells. I'm gonna subscribe now.
Do it. It's good. And then your mom's house, but
Yeah.
Jenny, you got a favorite podcast?
Comcast?
Comcast.
My favorite Comcast is anything but Comcast.
Yup.
No, I really like your mom's house too. That one kind of got
Everybody
me.
likes my mom's house. Okay.
Like, I guess was the Doorway podcast. Because I never really cared much for them. No offense to anybody here, obviously, but yeah, it just wasn't my thing. But yeah, listening to that one's really funny, and there's just like a ton of inside jokes, which is awesome. And then they also work those jokes into like their stand-up routines.
Yes.
Yeah, so like when you're watching, you're like, ah. It's like-
That's why I love listening to Harmontown. It's like bits from Harmontown 3 years ago make it to Rick and Morty.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's just like his Ice-T character came from long ago
shit,
on Harmontown.
really?
And it's like nuts to
Yeah.
hear.
I mean, Kevin Smith kind of did something similar. Not on. I mean, I'm sure some of his podcasts. I mean, Tusk came from the podcast.
Yeah.
But like a lot of his jokes for the movies came from his not stand up, but his Q&A stuff he does
Yeah,
on
I
stage.
mean, which is basically stand-up.
Which is
The
basically
movie
stand
The
up.
Jerk is basically the best parts of Steve Martin's stand-up. He would
yeah.
walk out of his set grabbing things, going, "I just need this candle and this fork. That's all I need."
It was from his podcast, Fighting Business.
Yes.
Bam.
one of the earliest podcasts.
Earliest podcast
Wild and
produced
Crazy
on
podcast.
Produced on vinyl. Oh, man. Steve Martin fighting business.
This
Opens with the
guy
banjo
hates
song.
these
It's great.
podcasts.
There's a lot of visual gags. That arrow through the head bit did not work on the podcast.
Not at all.
So this is a podcast. I have an arrow in my head. See? Ryan, what's your favorite podcast?
Yeah, what do you...
So originally, when I got into podcast, it was the Josta Show, which was Jamie Josta from Hatebreed. He's BFS with everybody in the metal industry. I'm a huge metal fan, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is so up
I
your
don't
alley.
know if that's ever come up before.
Actually,
So strange. How?
yeah, I don't know. So again, he used to work at MTV, BFS with everybody in the metal industry, talked to everybody.
Also, Hatebreed.
Also, Hatebreed, yeah. But he had a really good podcast for a while, and the first one I listened to of his was Adam D from Killswitch Engage, one of my favorite metal bands. He was on The Price is Right,
Whoa.
and he won.
Wow.
So the first interview he did was with Jamie Jostet. So like that kind of got me into podcast. Then Jacob over here sent me a couple good ones, and like Kicking Ass with Jesse and Andy.
Yep.
So good.
That's number 3, by the way. I was going to say that, but I was skipping.
Yeah. One of our favorite bands, Every Time I Die. The guitarist does a podcast who is also a semi-pro wrestler.
Oh, neat.
What?
Yeah.
He's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And so they do a podcast. It's great. But yeah, so I used to listen to the Jamie Jostet show, and then it got just bad.
Oh, no. I hate when that
started
happens.
talking more than letting the person.
Oh, like Pete Holmes on You Made It Weird.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's getting more and more.
Or
that
like
way.
most podcasts hosted by men.
I'm sitting here right now doing the same thing. You're right, too.
So I ended up with my favorite podcast for a while was the Nerdist podcast with Chris Hardwick. And like that's how I like doing my interviews or just doing the podcast was just talking to people. And
Yeah.
with him, he'd hit record, had his person hit record, and he'd just start talking about whatever. And it kind of got them in the mood of we're just friends just chatting, shooting the shit.
That's awesome.
That's
And
another
then-
fun aspect of podcasts.
Yeah.
Is like you're almost eavesdropping on
Yeah,
conversations you wish you
bit.
could
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. And there's some
really
cool
neat.
shit they talk about and some really in-depth shit and depending on who's on and whatever projects they're working on or not working on. And yeah, so like I listened to that for a while, and then he switched over to the ID10T when there was a weird company switch, and then the whole thing about him and his ex came out, and it was like,
Yeah, he's a little problematic at the moment.
Yeah,
that was heartbreaking because that was my guy. But then after that,
Oh.
yeah, Chris Hardwick,
Domestically abused a woman.
yeah, a lot and more.
Allegedly.
And then tried to ruin her career for reals.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I didn't hear that part. Yeah.
Online.
They came back recently, and I listened to it on the way up, and he interviewed Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jamie Lee Curtis is so great.
Yeah.
She did most of the talking, which was nice. But I felt kind of bad. I'm like, do I want to listen to this again? Like, it's my favorite podcast, but he did some shit, and I'm not okay with that.
It's hard to reckon with.
It really is. Yeah.
Why
it
Woody
is.
Allen movies are difficult to watch.
Roman
watch them to
Polanski
begin with,
movies
so-
are very hard.
They also suck. That's why they're hard to watch.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay, we got a hot take here. We got a real hot take. What's your least favorite?
Yes, okay.
Why?
I can dig it.
Also, I'm just talking shit. I've never seen a Woody Allen.
There we go. Guys, that was the end of the new segment called Hot Takes. Very quick.
Hope you
very
enjoyed
hot.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Sounds
So basically, yeah.
Shit, hot take.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, so that was my favorite for a while. Was
Go
the
fight
Chris
for
Hardwick.
business and do a hot take.
Hot take.
And then I did a spit take.
Welcome to the newest segment, Spit Take, where we try to get Jenny to spit take.
Shortly
a hot
after
take on that
Come
spit
Down,
take.
that happens sometimes.
Yeah, Come Down and Spit Take are the craziest duo.
Careful, I might need to fight some business like at the
I
table.
think it's on my new fetish. Hot takes and spit takes.
Hot takes and spit takes over here while we're fighting our business. Okay.
So Chris Hardwick was my favorite podcast for a bit. But now, yeah, I'm digging. Actually, I haven't really listened a whole lot lately. I'll catch you guys every once in a while, but I've been really into music lately, so I'm just like focusing
awesome.
on the music. So,
Have you ever listened to the Peer Pleasure podcast?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he'd enjoy it, wouldn't he?
Okay.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
It's-
Oh,
yeah.
I'll take a listen on the way
us
back down to LA. Yeah. Tell us more.
They're basically one-on-one interviews with people from bands that you would like
Yeah.
Dillinger
Oh,
Escape
cool.
Oh,
Plan.
fuck yes.
They just had
All about that.
they just had what's his face from Thrice. I can't remember his name.
Oh, that one.
Tepe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tepe Teranishi, the guitarist.
First time I listened to it was because Travis from Piebald was on, and
Oh, cool.
I love that guy. He's a sweetheart.
You have Piebald, though.
I love Piebald. And I became friends with him in life. It was very cool.
Mitchell Thompson effect.
That's all the stories.
He knocked me down at WonderCon. It was fantastic.
Okay, you're just getting knocked down by all
He
sorts of
just
people.
goes and he stands in the way.
You just stand in the way, you get knocked down, and become friends with him. It's
I
fine.
was cosplaying as Humpty Dumpty. Like,
As you do.
Gotta fall over all the
I'm
time.
gonna put you back together, kid.
Yeah.
I gotta be somewhere. I gotta go fight some business.
what is your favorite
Bryce,
podcast, Bryce?
When I started listening to podcasts, it was exclusively because I was trying to learn German.
Oh, neat.
And so I was doing a how to learn German podcast.
Was it Coffee Break German?
No, it was like,
Should have been.
and it was like a Scottish woman teaching German or something. She's like, you're listening to the German-speaking podcast.
Yeah.
What's the first word you learned?
what?
Cunts?
That's what Coffee Break language is.
I wonder if they like came out of that. But I mean, it was years ago when like iTunes was still not figuring out how to like create your library without just doubling it every time it updated. Like, I mean, it was like 2006, 2007, because it was before I went to Europe. And then in Europe, I learned like 3 times the amount of German that I learned on the podcast because I was there.
No.
That's cool.
And I was suddenly surrounded by all the language. Immersion. That's crazy. I can't believe that works. Yeah. And then I forgot it all because you lose it or lose it.
Yeah.
You use it or lose it. But so I started with that, but then I didn't really listen to anything else until I know I listened to other podcasts, but I feel like you guys for sure were one of the ones that I started actually using the podcast app a lot.
Oh, wow.
Because I was suddenly like on it all the time.
Thanks.
And then I was like, well, I should listen to other stuff because they're not talking right now because they're they don't have a new episode out. So how am I supposed to like
Living a
listen to
life?
my
Now
podcast?
you need your fix of podcasts.
Right? So
Man, I need that shit.
y'all got any more of them podcasts? So then I listened
Sorry,
to
Tommy.
then I listened to Your Motivational High Five, which is not one you want to join in on the conversation of because you're just like, okay, cool, you're the only one talking, but it also only lasts 5 minutes. So like by the time you're like, wrap it up, buddy, he is wrapping it up, which is really, really helpful.
That's really nice.
So I listened to that one for a little bit, and then I discovered the Steven Universe podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I
You
love-
can talk
you
about
Fucking love Steven Universe.
love Steven
oh
Universe.
my god.
He got me into it.
Yeah.
It's
I
this,
was not wanting to be into it, and then I just kept going like, damn, this is kind of good.
somebody found a song that is either sung by or like involved the character who plays Pearl and re-edited every like scene so that she was singing this rap song from like called The Party or whatever. And they re-edited it in there, and so like the Steven Universe people found it and they were like, hey, you should come out and intern for Cartoon Network. And then they were like, you should stay busy while you're out here, so you're gonna host their podcast. So like she talks to all of the storyboard artists, the voice actors, the editors, the sound people. She interviews all of them, and they all talk about their various roles and how they created the episodes. And it's a board-driven show. That's right. So the storyboard artists who never get to have this conversation of like how I came up with this weird ass idea. Like there's an entire character that exists purely because at one point he was like, I'm just gonna draw Jim floating in a bubble right here. And then 25 episodes later, they're like, I have an idea for what we can do with that fucking gym that you threw in there.
Wow.
And like now they have a story and they like wait till they like earn that or whatever. And so that aspect of it's really, really cool, and it's
really
nice to be
neat.
on
Behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, behind the
Really
scenes
cool.
stuff.
Which I'm all about.
It's cool because that show's target audience really are people of the age that need podcasts, that like love podcasts, maybe use it for their commute to work. Like that show really, like I've talked to more adults than children. I'm not really talking to many children.
I mean,
Because it's not that.
I work at a high school, and like when I had my long-term job, when there were new episodes coming out, I'd have everybody come in and we watch it totally illegally on
no, it's totally legally.
totally legally,
No, it's
completely
fine.
legal.
It fell off the back of the
Total
truck,
legit.
right?
Fell off the back of the truck into animeflavor.com.
Right in your pocket.
Anyway, I would like invite kids in, and when it started, it was like 3 or 4 students would come in and watch it. And then, like, by the end of my time as this long-term sub, I had like 25 kids coming in, filing in on Friday at lunch
so
to come
cool.
watch Steven Universe.
That's cool.
And then we ran out of Steven Universe, and they're like, well, what are we watching instead? And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess we gotta find something. And then that's how I became like an unofficial anime club advisor for a hot second. And the tables have turned.
Did you move to Gravity Falls?
We did move to Gravity Falls, actually, because Gravity Falls is dope, and I watched some of it last night.
See, now you know why celebrities like me, okay? I can guess
Because they like nothing you
what
are.
cartoons Bryce puts on for his students.
But with like all of that, you know, community or whatever, like, and that building, I really like that whole building the community thing that we had talked about, which is how we wound up having the podcast, because there's certain aspects of every community that I don't like.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would rather you guys just stopped talking about it. Please, you actually made me hate Doctor Who for way too long.
It took them a while to get into it because of that.
Well,
Doctor Who fans are awful.
I think you're hitting on another important function of podcasts, but also like the YouTube community is now that we don't have physical digital media like DVDs with special features on
Unless
it.
you're Brian.
I still buy them. That is my shit.
The
all
last
the
one
time.
I bought was Wonder Woman, so it was very recently. But like we are getting our behind the scenes content and commentary via podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
So podcasts are incredibly important.
Yeah, I also drive for 2 to 3 hours at a time because of my various back and forths between Bakersfield and Los Angeles, and now Orange County, which has added an entire other hour.
Whoop.
And you can only hear Weezer's Blue Album so many times.
You really can't.
I
in
actually
Pinkerton.
prefer Pinkerton.
Yeah.
But
That's a lie, by the way.
And
You
that's
can listen to
another
it
podcast.
forever.
That's another podcast.
anyway, so yeah, so Steven Universe podcast is probably the my like favorite right now, although I'm behind like several episodes. But I know that I'm just going to listen to them all at once.
Yeah.
So when that time comes, it'll happen.
Hell yeah.
But
That's so fun.
Molly, what's your favorite podcast?
Well, I'm a total podcast junkie. I've been listening to podcasts ever since I was in high school for a big portion of
Like
my
before
life.
there was a podcast app.
No, Molly's younger than us.
That's true. No, genuinely, yes.
wow.
Before I had a smartphone, when I had to download them on my
Like onto
MP3
iTunes
player.
and then put them on there. Yeah.
So I love podcasts, but my favorite one right now, I think, is like super radical and really cool. It's called Vicious Cycle, and it's a podcast about periods and the people who get them. And in a world,
So there's a lot of dudes on that, right?
well, actually, genuinely, Brian, they're trans men
Okay.
who still experience periods, which I had not
Dudes are
thought
everybody.
of.
Dudes are everything and everybody. Yeah.
Well, so full disclosure, it's my friends who have this podcast, my
Right on.
comedian friends, and when they were pitching it, I was like, cool, so it's like a really woman-centered podcast, and they're like, no,
Actually.
what we've discovered is like trans men have periods and it's a hugely dysphoric thing to happen if that's not how you feel. So just like learning a ton, and what's interesting is like in a world where there's a Cumtown podcast and where I've heard masturbation like anecdotes from dudes like on a billion podcasts since I started listening to it, I've never ever
ass.
heard women
Hell yeah.
talk about periods frankly before in my entire life.
Wow.
And so this is a whole podcast dedicated to that and dedicated to like dispelling myths and to like making people comfortable with
And
talking
actually
about them.
talking about it.
Absolutely. And to like be silly about it too, because it's not like a hollowed thing.
So this is a
Not
podcast.
related.
Bryce almost did a spit take.
Yeah.
Bryce can't handle silly periods.
That wasn't related at all. I'm sorry. Esophagus, that was poorly timed.
Sounds like the business you need to fight is getting over your fear of periods.
Hang on, I gotta go find a business.
But it's crazy, and they dispel like myths about periods. They talk to doctors. They talk to like
That's
people who experience periods differently, and they write very funny songs about
Their
periods.
songs
like,
are so funny.
Their premise is like young women need to know more about their bodies, so who better to teach them
absolutely.
than the Backstreet Boys? They wrote a Backstreet Boys parody. I can't remember what that particular parody was. It was like something like, I don't remember, but it was like an instructional. Oh, it was Now You Wear Tampons, and it was like, now you wear tampons. And it was about like how like finding the right hole and like how you need to shoot it up a little bit. And it's so like,
Don't put it in your butt.
honestly, you'd be so surprised. Like they get call-ins from women talking about their period, and one of our friends thought that the way to insert a tampon was like putting it like in between either labia, like the filling in a taco, basically.
Okay.
But that's because it really speaks to which spoiler alert, listeners. That's not where you put it.
Filling her taco.
It's got to go inside your vaginal canal.
So this is a podcast, and I'm not going to describe to you the amount of hand gestures that Molly does.
Yeah.
It's like she's
like-
thrown up gang
But it
signs
makes
and
sense.
being.
There's been like so much shame about that kind of stuff that
sure.
nobody talks about it, and
Yeah.
this is like literally. I'm 27. This is the first time anybody's spoken frankly.
Could you
to me
imagine
about
living
this.
in a time before the internet and then even further back when like this was a shameful thing for even mom and daughter to talk about? We've come such a
Wait,
long
I'm
way.
sorry. Are you imagining that time is not right now? Because I'm here to tell you it's right now.
It's
as
still
well.
happening.
still happening.
Yeah.
That's a
Huge
crazy
amount
Some
of
people
shame.
don't have internet.
Or moms.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Or
so
vaginas. I have neither.
it's a really funny podcast. And it's called Vicious Cycle.
All right. Interesting.
That's super
Very
cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I have a couple of students who brought up that they were on their period at the like while I was subbing, and they like mentioned it like in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, girl, go to the bathroom. If you gotta go take care of it, you gotta go take care of it." And
You're
she
welcome.
just kind of like looked at me like,
really?
That worked?
and I'm like,
What a chump!
and then the other girl was like,
She's like driving a car away.
"You're gonna peel out in the parking lot."
She pulls a joint out of a Kotex applicator. That sucks to be you.
No, but she brought it up and like it had happened or something like that, and then the other girl was like, "Yeah, I'm close, I know," and I'm like, "Oh," because I have 3 sisters.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm very good at memorizing cycles because that's the point when I'm like, I gotta avoid you for a week because
You're about to
I'm
be
an
a
asshole and I know that we aren't gonna necessarily get along and I'm not gonna think to say, oh, there's a reason for this. So we're just gonna not talk for a second. And, you know, she handles her thing and then she, you know, the time comes or whatever and life is good. But like that, for me, I'm like, I've always been really comfortable with that. But like,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
that's what happens when you know, grow up in a family with
Sure.
And it's the same. Yeah, I have 2 sisters and my mom, and they're fairly open. And again, I'm like a pre-med major, so I know about the body anyways.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Things don't really gross me out anymore, and
Nice.
it really surprises people if like how comfortable I am with stuff like that. So
Cool.
it's like, all right, yeah.
Thank you.
My mom explained to me what periods were when we were at McDonald's, and she was eating French fries, and she dipped it in her ketchup, and she goes, "You know what this reminds me? I gotta explain. This is a true story. Classic Barbie."
Of course.
That's how women
Barbie's
fight
the best.
business.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So Mitch,
Mitch, what do you got
how
going
did you
on?
get into podcasts? What's your favorite podcast?
Oh, so I was speaking on it earlier, I guess, with the whole Doug Loves Movies. I
Yeah.
like Doug Loves Movies, Harmontown.
Yeah.
To go fight some business.
Gotta go fight
Oh
some
yeah.
business.
Get down.
Fight that business.
I guess currently I'm trying to binge and catch up because I'm a little late to the game. Speaking of Come Town, I'm listening to Dumb People Town,
Okay.
which is the Sklar brothers.
Oh yeah. Those guys are hilarious.
Twin comedians. They're absolutely amazing. I've been a huge fan of theirs for years,
Yeah.
since like the days of Oblongs. A one
Oh,
season
that's the Oblongs?
a 1-season TV show, by the
Okay.
way. One we want to cover eventually.
Good.
But they made one of my favorite TV shows ever. And it was on ESPN Classics, and it was called Cheap Seats Without Ron Parker. And it's basically Mystery Science Theater 3000, but with weird sports, the ESPN library.
No shit.
So they'll watch the craziest shit.
Genius.
They watched like 5 spelling bees, and they're just making fun of these dumb kids. One of them is
Oh yeah.
one of them. Her name, I can't remember her first name, but her last name is Seal Fawn. I remember that South Park made fun of her during the homeschool episode, the spelling
Yeah,
bee
I
episode.
remember that, yeah.
So she's a girl who like talks into her fingers before
Yeah.
she spells each letter. So she'll be like, "Cat is C A." See, like she's smelling the answers out of her fucking fingers. It's
Like
the
Molly
weirdest
Shannon,
thing.
like
exactly.
Superstar.
Everyone went superstars. Imagine that, but she was homeschooled her whole life.
Which explains everything.
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
I mean,
Shout out to homeschool kids.
You're weird.
I was homeschooled
But we
for a
still
little
love
bit. I
you.
can attest to that.
Oh yeah.
homeschool kids need
I
podcasts
was
more than
homeschooled
anybody.
for
They got the
half a
time.
year. I'm pretty weird.
But we love you.
But it's a really good show, that one, to check out. Long tangent back to this podcast. It's them and Daniel Van Kirk, who he's a more recent stand-up. But if you listen to Doug Loves Movies, he's the guy who comes on as Marky Mark. He pretends to be Mark Wahlberg the entire episode, and he kills it. Like when he comes out, he stays silent until Doug addresses him, and then he goes, "How's everybody doing? You okay?" How's everybody doing? Huh? I left Donnie in the car. He's a fucking moron. And he kills it. And so what they do is they have a different either comedian or actor guest come on and every week, and they read 3 stories from the news of really dumb people doing really, really dumb things. Like one guy got his penis stuck in a wrench.
And a wrench?
A wrench.
What the fuck?
Oh,
What?
Well, it must have been limp when he put it in. We're talking probably like one of
Like
those
the end
circular
socket wrench?
socket
Yeah, is this an
wrench.
adjustable wrench?
Oh, I was.
Not
picturing-
adjustable
Yeah.
wide enough, apparently, for this
I'm
guy.
assuming socket wrench.
I think it's a socket wrench.
If it was a socket wrench, I could see that getting stuck.
Yeah.
He got his pee-pee stuck in a wrench, and you'll have to listen to
Does he
that
say what number it
podcast.
was? Like a 5/8?
Which is better.
Then they
Your
play-
baby's
then they
stuck in a
play
wrench, or a
games. It's
wrench
more
stuck in
interactive.
your
Yeah,
baby.
Like I was saying, so they start guessing things like how old do you think this person was, or how big was the wrench, like
Yeah.
little things like that.
The things we care about.
Would you rather?
And so they go through 3 news stories, and then they do a fun impression at the end. It's a great podcast, very fun. If you like hearing about mostly people from Florida, of course.
Yeah.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Do you subscribe to Florida Man on Reddit?
Of course I do.
Do you subscribe to the Ocho?
Yes, I do.
Those are 2 very relevant podcasts.
I've been listening.
subreddits
I've been
right now.
knowing about Florida since the days of Loveline, the original podcast. When Adam Carolla was playing Florida or
Adam
Germany.
Toast to Adam
Toast on
Carolla.
Corolla with the OG podcast.
I'm gonna opt out of that.
Ooh, no.
You saw him on Hot Ones, and we're like, I'm surprisingly charmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've drunk his mangria. I don't know if you guys know about
What?
this.
Yep,
He
sangria.
makes his own sangria called mangria.
Go on.
Now, wine and sangria is mostly about 13.5% alcohol.
give me a
Mangria, on the other hand, is 21.5%.
Because it's for men.
That's not how the man mosa works at all.
No, it's not.
So I like to get drunk off mangria and watch The Hammer,
What
which
is
is
the
Adam
difference?
Carolla's movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he puts a bunch of vodka in it is the difference.
That's how you're supposed to do,
The
right?
secret ingredient is it's all vodka.
It's more alcohol.
It's actually
more
just
booze.
vodka.
Oh, it's actually a bunch of
It's
alcohol.
vodka and red number 40.
The way he tells the story of inventing it is it sounds like the Flaming Homer. He was just going through his cabinet and he took the little bits of everything that was left.
Yeah.
That sounds like the
And
Purple
that's-
Jacob.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the purple
Oh,
Jacob! I owe so many Sundays wasted sleeping to try to recover from the fucking purple Jacob.
Wait, what's the purple?
Can we
Jacob?
go
yeah.
on?
Please
Please
tell
tell
us.
the tale of the purple
It
Jacob.
is good, but
I
bad,
don't
but
remember
good, but
either.
bad.
Welcome back to the segment Spit Take because
I mean, if anything,
Whoa.
so
Grape
it's
juice?
got it. Well, it's really any alcohol you have around.
Yeah.
So I think
So like
I
jungle
had,
juice.
I had rum and probably some whiskey
Okay.
Yeah.
and maybe tequila, and so that went in there. And then I mixed it with Mountain Dew because obviously.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
step
And then
one.
The first time I ever endured any sort of "oh my god, what have I done" drinking experience, it ended with absolute Mountain Dew.
Oh, God.
Mountain Dew Code Red, to be
Heck
specific.
yeah.
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 when they took that away for just a little bit of time,
Because
nerds everywhere
lost
were
their shit.
outraged.
We lost our
Outraged.
balls and we lost our.
Do you understand the WoW community was
it was up and
Livid.
off.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew Code
It
Red
really
and
was.
Doritos.
It really was.
Heck yeah.
That's-
And then grape juice for color.
Naturally.
What else?
You don't remember?
Oh, and a pickle.
There's a pickle in
There's a
there.
pickle?
And a pickle in the bottom for a snack when
Yes.
you're done.
Yep.
That's right.
every good drink needs a garnish.
Yeah,
The
right.
pickle at the bottom, so when you're done drinking, you go snack.
Yeah,
chill
pickle.
on.
Do you guys do pickleback shots with whiskey ever?
Yes.
No.
No?
Oh, we should do a whole
Delicious.
episode about alcohol and how to properly drink it.
Yes.
Wait, gatekeeping.
Yeah. And how to not judge people for drinking your drinks that you like. If you
But-
like Zima, motherfucker, I love Zima.
Do you really love Zima?
Amen.
I do. It's like
Goddamn.
Smirnoff Ice, but more like Skittles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
I'm
good.
okay with that.
I've never actually tasted it.
The
so
only
can't-
drink
they
I'm
brought it
actually
back.
like.
I know. It's been
We
around.
had it at that barbecue.
You did, and I
Totally-
didn't-
You
I didn't do
jerk.
it. I'm sorry.
I brought
I
it
mean-
for you.
Sorry.
When they got rid of Zima the first time, the yuppie community was up in
like
As
97.
they should have
The only drink I've ever been really judgy about, like, because if you're gonna get an Appletini, get an Appletini, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want a majority
JD
salad,
from
get a majority
Scrubs,
salad.
yo.
But if you're gonna drink Arbor Mist and tell me you're drinking wine, my friend, you are lying
Okay.
to yourself and to your alcohol community.
I have been guilty of being shitty gatekeepery about alcohol, but there's only one time that I'm actually proud of doing it. And I presented a solution, so I don't think I'm douchey
Okay.
for this.
No, yeah.
It was a few years ago when I was in a bar that's our like local theater bar, and there was this like improv level 1 class there, and this like whatever freshly 21-year-old guy was like, "Hi, can I have a adios, motherfucker?" I'm like, cancel that. he will not have that. And I'm like, why do you want that? He goes, well, it's just very alcoholic. I'm like, no, son, let me show you.
Let me show you what liquid cocaine's all about.
I was like,
Hell yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
he'll
that's the stuff.
have a Sazerac because he's not on a fucking cruise. And it was like, the
What if I want to be on a
the
cruise?
most Don Drapery thing I've ever done in my whole life. He's like, it is good. It's like, yeah, and you know what else? It's not blue.
I like.
That's why I started drinking Tom Collins, because it looks super classy.
does.
And if you don't want gin, if you're not in a pine tree air freshener mood, or maybe they've decided that their Bombay is actually not a well, then you can just say, throw in some Kettle One vodka. And then suddenly you're like, hey, nobody has to know. But you got a limit.
Are you
got
really
some
a gin
bubbles.
guy now?
I am really a gin guy now. My goal.
Okay, it's
As he
just
picks up the-
welcome back to
whiskey
fighting
cup.
business. All right.
To fighting
Hang on,
business.
I gotta find some business here. I started my journey toward becoming a gin man with the Kettle One Collins because I was like, I like a Tom Collins, but I don't like pine tree air fresheners, so maybe we could throw something else in.
Yeah, that's what I think they
And my
taste like, too.
favorite whiskey bar in all of Bakersfield, which happens to be located
there a
in
lot
the
of them?
old.
In Bakersfield?
Shut your mouth. Which happens to be located in the old business meeting room of Denny's, and is now a whiskey bar.
Okay, I apologize, sir. It is pretty. Okay, yeah.
Yes, they have converted it to a whiskey bar. It also has shuffleboard.
Do you want to visit later?
You guys, I wish you could see my face.
So this is a podcast.
The surprise I have for Denny's having anything with class.
Oh, we didn't say it had class.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, no, I got everybody to go there one Christmas Eve for our Christmas party that we sometimes throw, and it was a horrible rainstorm, and it was leaking everywhere in that stupid bar.
And there
Now
was
I'm picturing
one
hash browns
bartender
as the garnish in the drinks.
and they were so fucking good.
Hey, you need a snack. Back me up, Scooter.
He's right.
Can I tell my favorite Denny's story?
Yes.
Hang on. So we finished. So I get the Kettle One Collins because I happen to like the smoothness of Kettle One. And then while I was at the Wired party at Comic-Con this year, just prior to meeting Ming Chen, I said, do you have any good gins? And he goes, quite frankly, you're not going to want the vodka we have because it's shit. And I said, thank you, Tom. And
Tom's
Tom
a
made me
man.
a Tom Collins with some quality gin. And now I'm a gin man. Tell us the story of your whiskey.
Do me a favor, and after this, we're going to Google and watch this or YouTube this. It's a video called Tom Collins by a band called the Sloppy Boys. And who they are, they're three members of the sketch group, the Birthday Boys, who their show was produced by Bob Odenkirk for IFC. They're an incredible group from LA.
Hell
They're
yeah.
Upright Citizens Brigade, Raised,
so you know
they're
what's
fantastic.
solid. Yeah.
Their song about Tom Collins is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
Now,
Whiskey.
So, at Denny's one time. Let me
sorry,
rewind.
Denny's.
yeah.
Let me rewind.
Is this going to involve shots?
A group, no. Well,
Okay, because there's a lot
kind
of
of.
rich stories that involve
There's a drunk lady
those
involved.
things being
Back
drank
when the
at
first
Denny's.
Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out, a bunch of
Jenny
Jenny
got
just
excited.
clapped. It's a podcast. You've caught on. So we decided that since this movie it's about pirates, I love pirates. We all love pirates. We were gonna dress up in super pirate costumes. Jordan bought like a really fancy costume.
Of course.
I know this story already. That's why I clapped.
This is my favorite part about it too. His dad dropped him off because he's wearing like an elegant, like he looks like Captain Hook from Hook. He looks like Dustin Hoffman. Like he showed up in the nicest outfit I've ever seen. And his dad just loves making fun of him. So he goes, Jordan got this costume in San Francisco from a homosexual. And he leans forward to me and he goes, which is why he likes wearing it so much. So anyway, we're all at the marketplace. I made a map of the marketplace that I
Oh, the
aged
marketplace.
in tea and in the oven to make it look like an old pirate map.
Extra as fuck.
X
Oh,
marks the
shit.
spot at Edward Cinema where we're seeing the movie.
Oh, Edwards.
My costume was I cut up a pair of Dickies to have the like etches at the bottom, and I wore Vans slip-on shoes. We decided to go to the mainland surf shop because that's a great joke. I go, there be the mainland. We walk in and this dude runs up to me and he sees my Vans and he goes, oh shit, he's wearing prison shoes. This fucking pirate's wearing prison shoes. In prison, those shoes are your life. This story gets more gangster from there. We decided to go buy our tickets right away. I taped my money to a hook hand I had brought. Pay for my ticket. This guy walks up to us and he goes, yo, he's looking around all shady. He lifts his arm. He's got a Jolly Roger tattooed on his bicep. And he goes, we're in a pirate gang. We just want to say,
fucking way.
we respect the hell out of what you're doing. Back there, that's my boy. He's also in the gang, but he was too afraid to come talk to you. That's why his pirate name is Chicken Cock.
You're telling me that you did all of this shit for the first Pirates before you even knew if it was good?
You know the best part? We waited till the movie was out a month. This is not midnight showing.
A month later,
The movie had been out for a solid month.
3 p.m.
And it was 3 p.m. The movie gets out. It's now 7. Time to go to Denny's dressed as fucking pirates.
Right.
So we're there, and there's a drunk lady.
Oh, this is the story. Sorry.
All right, so when we're walking into the Denny's, fully dressed as pirates, we sit down.
Oh shit, this was all at the marketplace. We haven't gotten to Denny's yet.
Yeah, so here, no, we're at the Denny's. And this woman is drunk as hell. It's 7 p.m. I mean, this is one of the drunkest women
Welcome
I'd
to
seen at the
Bakersfield.
time.
Welcome to Denny's.
You know, cheers, guys. Cheers to Denny's, and cheers to the drunk people at Denny's.
At Denny's.
Cheers to Bakersfield Denny's.
Cheers to Bakersfield Denny's is what it is.
Cheers to this whatever whiskey room at the back of the Denny's.
It's called the old-fashioned room. As a matter of fact.
Nothing's more old-fashioned than Denny's.
It's an American institution.
Of course.
It's a drink.
This woman just walks up to our table, drunk as fuck, and she looks at us and she goes, "All right, guys. How much are they paying you?" "Oh, no one's paying us. We just did this for fun.
Yeah.
We saw the..." "Well, what kind of bet did you lose?"
You're like,
"Now, again, we're friends and pirates get..." "Okay, but how much are they paying you?" This went on for 15 minutes. I had never had a drop of booze in my life. I now get it. Now that I've been drinking for a solid 12 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's Denny's. That's classic Denny's.
Honestly, like, we talk about the show. Because
the show.
At the the show. At the end of our night after this party up on this rooftop where we met Ming Chen, I said,
You guys drop parties more than I drop celebrity names. I love it.
So, look, we went to 3 really good parties and cool people were there.
it's really cool, man.
We met neat people. And for the record, we met celebrities at said parties. I met the guy who directed The Haunting of Connecticut. He was a cool dude.
Very cool. It's the sound of you dropping another name.
Anyway, so we're at the
I'm the last
You're
person.
not one to talk.
So we leave this party and we're like, let's go down the gaslight corridor.
District,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we're like, let's go down the gaslight corridor because
He was like, we're just like, let's
no,
go
you're like,
home.
let's go home, and I'm like, nah, dude,
No, let's
it's
go
cool.
see this show. We're like,
I wanted to watch the
fine.
show, which the entire phrase "the show" was coined by a waitress named Victoria who used to work at the Bakersfield Rosedale Denny's. Because the show is what starts at 2:00 when all the drunk people start rolling in from their bar.
It's a censored version of the shit show. Right?
The other thing is we were also trying to like find a
cheaper
themed
Uber.
bar
oh yeah,
and get closer to a place where we could get a cheaper Uber, which did not work out at all. It was like
No.
$30 for that Uber because peak pricing. We were too damn tired. The next day I got
Comic-Con.
con flu.
It's Comic-Con
Shit was
too
bad.
in downtown San
Anyway,
Diego.
so
Anyways.
the show originated. The phrase "the show" originated at Denny's because at 2:00 that's when the like garbage just rolls in and you watch the one guy who's like kind of got it together with his girlfriend who's sleeping in his armpit and he's just like, yo, I just want 2 eggs and some English muffin.
pancakes and-
It's fine. And she's like, well, do you want to just build your own Grand Slam? And it's like, what the fuck ever. Throw it in. I don't care. Decide the
Can't
other
make those
things.
decisions right now.
And you're like, how did you get here? Both in your life and this physical Denny's. Do you have a Denny's story? Long Beach local? Original Long Beach local?
No, we just went to Denny's. We always went to Denny's after like prom or theater shows, but I don't have anything. I don't have any crazy
That's
stuff.
how
we did
learned
it
about
after
Denny's
theater
was
shows.
after theater shows.
We're very well behaved. I don't. I went.
Did you do shots of caramel?
Yeah,
Oh, she got excited. I want to hear this.
No, this is not a Denny's story, but it's adjacent. What was the Mexican place that used to be in Stonestown?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
Fuck. Okay.
Oh.
Chewy's.
Yeah. No, it's
I love shoes.
Chevy's.
Chevy's.
Oh, Chevy's.
Chevy's. Okay, Chevy's.
Which is Mexican, which Tex-Mex Denny's.
Yes,
is what
there was
Chevy's
a
is.
there was a Chevy's in the.
I try to turn Denny's into Tex-Mex on a regular basis.
Exactly.
You're able to go find some business.
Okay, we should probably wrap up too. No.
Yeah, we do need to wrap up quick.
Well, real quick, there was a Chevy's right by my college, and after improv shows, we would go there, and I once drank 15 shots of Chevy's brand hot sauce there on a dare. Yeah.
You don't seem like the shy type. How was the day after?
Genuinely, I was fine. I was 18.
The look of confusion on
I
Bryce's
was like
face.
18 or 19. My stomach was like a iron chest. Like everything was perfect.
It's still there. That hot
I
sauce
was-
is still there,
It's
just waiting
still
to
there.
flow.
Now I like look at a hot sauce sideways and I've got the rumblies forever. But then I was a golden god of like irresponsible hot sauce consumption. Yeah. Yeah. And then I would later go on to drink 4 Mexican bulldogs at that same
What the hell's a
Chevy's.
Mexican bulldog?
Oh, it's one of my favorite drinks. I should not have given that guy drinking Adios Motherfuckers shit because I love this drink, which is a margarita
Is it bright blue?
with a probably
Sometimes.
with a baby Corona face down.
Like a Corona-rita.
Yeah, exactly. So
What?
once I drank 4 of those, fell down face first on my bed, and the next day thought I was having a heart attack all day. But no, I had just been drinking. So yeah, so Chevy's was kind to me in college, I guess.
Beautiful.
Chevy's was my Denny's. But I'm starving. Can we go to dinner?
Yes.
Yeah, we should go to dinner. Okay, well, Brian's gone, but I mean, that's podcasting for you. Right there.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, we talk about shit that is not necessarily relevant to the thing we were supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
What were we supposed to?
Podcasts.
Well, we nailed it.
I like podcasts.
I'm gonna tell you, the amount of tangents we went on this is a podcast
It's a
themed
proper-
podcast.
Yeah.
Have you not heard us before? Because this is kind of how we work.
I love it.
points.
I love it. Thanks for having us.
Well, what are you reading right now?
Oh.
Nerdy stuff. What not nerdy stuff. What are you reading?
I'm reading The Power by Naomi Alderman, which is like, I think our generation's great science fiction book. It's
All right.
really
Okay.
great.
Yeah?
It's about a society where one day certain young women wake up and figure out they can electrocute people with their hands.
Cool.
The fucking storm?
And it totally overturns gender roles and stuff as we know it. And it's a really great
Right
book.
on.
It's by Naomi Alderman, who's the protege of Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's
Right
Tale.
on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so The Power. You gotta read it. It's amazing.
The Power. That was the quickest what am I reading that we've ever
Because I
done.
love it and I keep thinking about it.
Straight to it. Like,
Are you reading anything else? I feel like we didn't spend nearly enough time
This
there.
is weird.
That's
You just
it.
finished
Get
your
it.
book challenge, right? This year you were trying to read how many books?
Oh, I was trying to read 24 books. And
Hell yeah.
24
right on.
books.
How's that going so far?
this is my 25th.
Yeah, well done. Hell yeah.
It's a good one.
Mitch, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening? What are you doing?
I will plug this. I think The Haunting of Hill House is a freaking
so
incredible
good!
show. And I love that director. I've been watching a lot of his films to
Really?
catch up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he did Oculus, which had...
Oh, he's the Oculus guy? I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I've never seen so much effort to try to get 7 years bad luck in my life. It's a film about trying to break a mirror.
Right.
And yeah, it's insane. It has what's her face from Doctor Who.
Karen Gillan.
Karen, yeah. Who I got to meet once at a Sketchfest after party. That was
Yeah?
fun. I touched her back on my way to the bathroom because I was just like,
That's
I'm
how I kind
too
of
afraid
encountered
to talk
George
to you.
Takei.
Yeah. I was just like, I need to get to the bathroom. Pardon me.
My George Takei story also involves a bathroom and me trying to get around somebody.
Then she knocked me down at WonderCon.
She did. Sorry, man, I gotta go.
But I say watch that. If even if you don't really like scary stuff, it's like the This Is Us of horror.
Dude, I bawled like a baby.
Yeah, I cried throughout that whole series.
Yeah, so he was like, I'm going to go to bed and watch a few episodes of this and this and this. I'm like, so you're not going to bed tonight? No, I'm going to go to bed.
4:30 in the morning?
4:30,
I did the same
4:45
thing.
comes around. I'm up to go to work because I'm up early to go to work. I'm like, are you good, man? I peek my head in. He's like,
I'm like, shit is going
shit
out
is
of
going
control.
down.
The
like,
episode with like
cool.
3 shots.
The storm?
Yeah, the storm.
Dude, And what's crazy about that is like there's points like the show's filled with little ghosts like hiding in the background.
hidden background Easter
And there's
egg
like
ghosts.
90 of them in a list on BuzzFeed.
You would
somewhere.
love this.
I've
This is so
seen
up your
those,
alley.
But there's a point where they go past these two statues, and then
And
when
the
they
heads
come back,
turn.
the heads turn. Oh, scared the shit out of me. Oh god, it's so good.
Uh-oh, I gotta watch it.
You will love this so much.
I seriously like on top
It'll make
of
you want to play some pole position too on porn VR
Nice.
immediately.
immediately. Theo, hands, good shit. Anyway,
Jake,
my turn? Oh,
what do you got
yeah.
going on?
what's your newest Lego figure?
Oh, well,
That's a good
look at
question
that.
for
I
Scooter.
want to get to the reading first. 'cause
I
actually
want
read
both
a
of these
book.
information.
I actually read a book, you guys.
Nice.
Sort of. It was a book, but
It was a pamphlet.
Was there pictures?
It was
I
a
read a lot of
pamphlet
those.
about proper
There were
gooch
I read a lot
maintenance.
of those.
there were pictures. Yeah.
I still think that'd be a great app. It just has shampoo bottle labels
Oh my gosh.
as an
Genius.
app.
Do it.
Use that while you shave.
Oh, all right.
But in relation to your last podcast, Coheed and Cambria,
Oh, yeah.
I just finished reading the book with the latest.
The book or the Amateur Wars
yes.
comic?
That book,
No, the book
that
book.
came
It came
with
with
the- nice.
Baxis.
Yeah.
Cool.
The story of the Baxis.
How is it?
It's good. It was all right. It was just
Who wrote it?
Coheed. I mean Claudio, obviously. he's
wrote it.
Coheed. No.
Yeah.
Claudio and his wife, they
Oh, cool. Yeah.
co-write.
I was loving the whole fake viral thing about his hair.
Dude,
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was
releasing.
genius.
I knew
And it
that was gonna
threw
happen.
me
He's
off.
done that so many times. But I was
on.
very relieved when I found out that he
Yeah.
was fake.
He was in the middle of rocking out and he threw off his hat mid headbang and the hair just
Yeah.
came out. We're like,
Right.
oh, thank
It
God.
poured out like the sexiest river of hair. You know?
That is hair of the gods, honestly.
So did that. As far as figs go, Bakersfield Comic Con was.
How was
last
that?
weekend.
I was
didn't get to
working
go.
that weekend and I did not get to go.
And-
We didn't get to go. How was it?
It was cool. I guess we only went to go buy stuff,
Yeah.
and I bought
As you do.
stuff.
Cool.
But I got some.
That's what you're
Iron
supposed
Man.
to do when you go
yeah.
buy stuff.
Yeah, I accomplished it. It was
Good
for
job.
me.
Goals attained.
I just bought some more. No, thank you. I had to distract myself because I'm really self-conscious right now.
You're great.
Some more Iron Man Legos.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Well, knock
I
off
thought you
Lego
had all the
Man.
Iron Man
I
Legos.
do have all the official Lego ones.
But-
I don't have the
Dude, are there
knockoff
bootleg?
bootleg
What?
China.
Do you
Lego.
follow our Lego?
Because
Because like somebody put on our
Molly
Lego
works
the
for
other day.
Lego.
No.
She does advertising.
I
for...
write copy for a faction of Lego, but
Yeah.
it's a different thing.
Somebody posted a picture of a vulture Lego. What do they call him? My own creation, Mop. And he was like, I did so many illegal things in this, and like I was like,
Oh,
what does
yeah.
that even mean?
Yeah.
And then you get on there and like, there's rules for what you can connect and
Yep.
what you can't connect and all that sort of
How
stuff.
you use that function.
And but like, I mean, it seriously was one of the coolest like set of wings.
I mean, with the
Yeah.
invention of the 3D printer, it must be fucking nuts for like
Yeah.
Lego and stuff.
Well,
The first
and
thing I
with
saw
all the
was
digital
people
programs?
coming up with things that could like adapters so you can use
Yeah.
connects with Legos.
Yeah.
And
Well, because people have gone on and like just in like Lego building program on their computer have built up like various creations and they'll just put the plans out like, hey, you have a shitload of Legos? Good news, you can build a multicolored version of this badass thing.
That's awesome. Do they submit it to that like Lego Creations?
And they do, they do
Yeah.
that, and then you can vote on them and stuff like that. That's how a lot
Yeah,
of
the
this stuff
ship in
got
the
made.
bottle. Just that's how I
Dave-
got the Ecto
Flintstones.
1 and the fucking DeLorean. It's the best thing.
Yeah, our regular guest Dave Ziegler just built the ship in the bottle. He's got it sitting on his mantle.
I saw the original one that the creator submitted. It looks so much better than what Lego decided to go with.
Wow,
Because it has cloth sails instead of like brick sails. That
Yeah.
look
dude,
dumb.
cloth
Well,
sail. They did cloth
Lego
sails
drops
for the
the
pirate
ball
ships
a
when we were
lot.
kids.
I know. He's using official Lego pieces. This is literally the longest podcast episode you're gonna have. I think at this point.
No, we had that 3-hour one about Doctor Who once.
Oh, yeah. That one time, 2 times.
So you're reading that,
I was reading that.
and
I'm
you're collecting
finished.
that.
And then I got that, and that's it. I think I'm going to start reading Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die. Just released a book
Cool.
Awesome.
called Watch. And
Wow.
I've had it for a while, and I've been pushing it off because I don't like reading because I don't have the attention span for it.
What about
Get
book
that.
on audio? It's like a podcast.
Dude,
but
it's
it's
a
a
Doesn't
book.
have, he
Yeah.
doesn't have that.
Get that Star Wars book, then you
With
can
the
listen to all the
sound
lightsaber sounds. Yes! It opens with a theme. Life is good. I mean,
You kind of tear up a little bit?
I definitely cried during Star Wars books while driving.
Yeah.
I've also driven just a little tired enough that I'm like, I'm seeing this book in my head. I didn't pull over. That's not going to work.
That's called falling asleep.
Oh, good news. Bryce is still with us. No car accident.
I pull over when these things happen.
Smart man.
Jenny, what are you reading?
I just finished rereading White Oleander.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sad.
Yeah, I'd read it once before. It's pretty good. Oh, now I'm tapping my foot.
Yep. See?
See? Yeah.
No biggie.
No, that was it though. I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I got a bunch of stuff on my bookshelf I haven't picked up yet.
How much Vonnegut you got left?
I don't even know.
I've read Slaughterhouse-Five 3 times and I've never finished Sirens of Titan, and that's my second
Seriously?
Vonnegut book.
Wow.
Sirens of Titan is million times
good.
better than
Slaughterhouse-Five is one of my top 3 books of all time.
So then take that times a million and read fucking
Yeah.
Sirens of Titan.
I really
Right now I'm
Mother
reading
Night.
articles
Yeah.
on linguistics.
I keep
You know what?
thinking
Your
about Mother
education
Night.
be damned.
I love Mother Night.
Mother Night?
Yeah,
Mother Night is so good.
really good.
It's his take on a spy novel.
I do have a collection of Vonnegut writings that he did for short stories and magazines so that he could fund his books.
Yeah.
I have a book.
Which one is it? Do you know?
Shit, I don't know.
Welcome to the Monkey House is
Skeleton
a good
Crew.
place
I
to
don't know.
start.
I think it actually is
That
Welcome to
one's
Monkey
good.
House.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Monkey
favorite.
House is a fucking great place to start
I
if
love
you
that.
want to get into
That's what
Vonnegut.
got me into Vonnegut.
Hell yeah, man.
So good.
Ipecac is one of the best short stories of all time.
Emo me was all over that.
It's okay, so was Young High School Skinny White
Oh
Mitch.
yeah.
When Vonnegut died in our senior year, Mitch was so...
Distraught.
I got texted by 6 different people, "Are you okay?" the day Vonnegut.
And that's what text cost 10 cents for the record.
Don't out how old we are. Brian, what do you
Brian, what do you read?
Oh man, so as you know, I read stuff with pictures. There's a bunch of cool events going on with Marvel Comics. There's the Extermination event going on with the X-Men.
It's still going on?
Yeah, the last issue comes out next week, I think.
Okay.
So we're finally figuring out what's going on with the new X-Men that got brought out of time. Weird thing.
Cool.
So then there's a big old Spider-Man event going on as well. Spider-Geddon.
Yeah, Spider-Geddon's looking super cool.
It's
which makes
really
perfect
cool.
sense that they bring that back just before the movie came out.
Yeah, which also looks really cool.
That does look really
The animation style is really different, but very interesting.
cool. John Mulaney's in it.
John Mulaney is in this.
Spider-Ham, and I'm so excited.
Do animal
Yes.
stock in this universe? I don't want to freak the guy out.
And then
I'm pretty stoked about this. I'm
I'm
stoked about
really
that. I'm
excited.
stoked about the Pokemon movie. That
Did
was
you watch
rad.
that trailer.
Did you watch Venom?
No, not yet.
Oh, we talked about it earlier. So we have an episode on Venom that we did that we're thinking it's a little bit too soon after Stan the Man passed away. Can we get a cheers?
Hey,
for
you
Stan
know
the
what?
Man? Stan the
Let me just
Man.
say cheers to Stan.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Venom episode is basically just us complaining about Venom. Even with me who enjoyed
he was the
watching
one
it.
that liked it.
It's still a terrible movie, but I enjoyed watching it. But at the very end of it, they show an entire scene from Into the Spider-Verse. They're
Yeah.
somewhere in another universe, and
Yeah.
they show a 5-minute scene,
Yeah, it's really solid. Yeah.
which is cool.
Which was the best part of that movie?
Oh no.
Give or take.
No,
give or take.
the fight scene
there was
at the
the
end
fight
pretty
scenes
dope.
were really
We finally
cool.
got to see Venom fighting, and
Yeah,
it was
it
dope.
was cool.
I do like that Venom in this movie looks like Venom.
Oh yeah, that was one thing they got.
That has a plus on Spider-Man
Yeah.
3 for fucking sure.
Which apparently is on Netflix. I discovered.
Yeah, it is.
I won't be watching that.
Yeah. In related Venom news, I've been reading the Venom comic book, which has been game changing.
Nice.
One of the best books I've read in recent
That's
years.
awesome.
So yeah, that's what I'm about. Spider-Man and X-Men and Venom and comic books. Yeah, what do you got going on?
What do you
I'm
read?
Besides your linguistics,
I'm reading lots of
research
articles
papers.
about linguistics.
What's the best one? What
Don't
business
get
do
him-
you fight in this reading?
The one I'm focusing on the most is Larry Selinker's 1972 article on interlanguage, and I'm not going to go into it. But I've actually started reading books from my poll finally. So I've been reading Miss Marvel, which has been really freaking good.
Oh, nice.
Miss Marvel is fantastic. I don't know if you've ever
I've heard it.
read it. Yeah, I mean, G. Willow Wilson. She writes it. She is a practicing Muslim woman.
Oh,
But
yeah, I
Kamala
follow her
Khan,
on
the character.
Twitter.
Oh, she's
Oh,
fantastic.
she's
Yeah.
awesome on Twitter. Yeah.
I just watched Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, so I'm excited for the
first one?
sequel. Yeah, I watched that with you in your house.
Oh.
I saw the second one this morning.
Don't
It
be
was-
too excited.
See, I really liked it.
Molly and I hated
First
it.
one is really good, and the second one.
See,
I felt like the first
I
one
didn't
was
love the
kinda-
first one. Yeah.
I felt like
love
the first one
one.
needed subtitles because Ed Redmayne doesn't know how to open his mouth.
No, that
Oh,
was.
get ready for more of the same.
No, I thought it was better.
Empty chairs and empty
Empty
tables.
tables.
This wizard will drink no more.
Other than that, like I've been reading a lot of Venom stuff, but like geek stuff wise, I'm about ready to start She-Ra. I've heard really good things.
Oh, the new Netflix show?
Yeah.
I've heard such good things.
We were
Especially because it's
watching
like
Dragon
a woman
Prince.
showrunner and like a mostly women writer's room. And I've been rewatching He-Man lately, so I'm really excited to get down and binge on this. The second season, it got picked up for a second season.
Oh, cool.
So.
Already.
Wow,
Wow,
yeah.
I'm a fucking nerd for He-Man shit.
Dude, that's what we're here.
If you guys haven't seen The Toys That Made Us yet, the He-Man episode is one of the best.
Really?
That show
I
is
keep meaning to
fucking
watch it
great.
too.
I love
It's
that
so
show.
good.
That
It's
one,
so
and
good.
I know that voice. So like two huge
yeah.
geek things that I just
that
for whatever reason
is such a
haven't
good
sat
one.
down to watch.
Oh man, Billy Webb. You haven't watched the voiceover documentary?
Right?
No,
It's
you
so
know,
good.
right?
It's so
Are you
Congrats,
trying to do
man.
that?
Yes,
Like a
I am. I really am. Anyway, yeah. So that's our podcast on podcasting and tangents and podcasting.
An ADD.
Yeah. So cheers, everybody, to podcasting.
Cheers to getting through this. Let's
Yeah.
cheers to your
Let's
podcast.
go to Lengthwise Brewery and,
Yeah.
and not have whiskey, but instead something else. I love everybody. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay!